Hey everybody, it's day 343 of Training Daily Excellence. My name is Brad Gieske. Today we're talking about surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to be better. We had an ODP event this weekend. We were in Kansas at Wyandotte Fields, and we had the Missouri ODP teams against the Kansas ODP teams. And while that level of competition was pretty incredible in itself, because you have great players from all around the state of Missouri playing against great players from all around the state of Kansas, there's concurrently the regional pool players for the girls playing alongside of us. And so they ran training sessions and then they scrimmaged. And within 5 seconds of watching the scrimmage, there are a couple of things that really jump out at you watching that level of play. One, you can hear players communicating. It's loud. There's communication going on everywhere on the field, and it's an overpowering type of experience. It's really cool to have, and you can imagine the same thing is happening at the professional levels, but their noise on the field gets drowned out a lot by the noise of the fans and the vuvuzelas and whatever else is going off, the drums and all the craziness in the crowd. But because the parents were quiet while observing the scrimmage games, you could really hear the players communicating. And like I said, it was overpowering the amount of communication that was going on in comparison to what you see in just even a state level game. Now, another thing that was incredible was if you listened, you could hear the players breathing hard. You could audibly hear and you could hear from every section of the field at any given moment. And what that tells me is it's not always simply that the player was born greater. It's not that the player was born with more gifts. It tells me that even the state level players, many of them, if they put in that same amount of effort, if they allowed themselves, I should say, to go to that level, they may be able to compete. And so it's really cool because the fact of running a regional camp, especially running alongside the state level games, is that you're surrounded by players who challenge themselves and challenge each other to get better. And so that is the most empowering type of experience you can have. There's a skateboarding TED Talk, and one of the examples that the skateboarder uses in there, he talks about this young boy who does these crazy ramps, like huge ramps. But the reason that he can do it and doesn't think anything of it is he's surrounded by a community of older skateboarders who are doing the same thing day in, day out. And so for him, it no longer phases him. Just the same as if you take a good state level player and you put them into that region camp, you put them into an event that's going on at a regional level, surrounded by other players that really understand the game and know how to push themselves and know how to push each other and know how to communicate, they can go up to that standard. They can work up to that standard. And so the same is true of you as a soccer player. There's a whole base you have to build. So you can't just go in day one and be whoever you want to be. But when you're working hard, you're building your technical game, you're starting to understand the game, you're starting to study the game, you're starting to work. The most important part is continually surround yourself with people that are challenging you to be better, people that are currently better than you at the game of soccer. They know more, they do more, they work harder, and that experience, I had the same thing. Ryan Bauer, who's now my roommate, was the first one that I saw him play. I'm like, oh my gosh, man, like it would be really cool to be like this player. And that summer, we trained together. He allowed me to train with him, and training with him changed my level of expectation for myself. It changed my quality. It changed my standard. And all of you need that. You need somebody to change your standard. But it's not a passive process. It's not like, oh, okay, I'm going to dream that I'm going to be a great soccer player and then it's going to happen. It's an active process. You have to actively seek out those people. And those people will be there, but you have to learn where to look. And it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort, but it's worth it. It really is, because that's the only way to the next level of your game, is finding those people. Find those people who challenge you to be better. Thank you guys. Like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you tomorrow.